how lucky they
I'm
are.
gonna go, I am, you know I am.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Alright, so, we were just talking about this, secondary immune deficiency, so AIDS. HIV means that you have the antibodies. Clinical AIDS is when you have the active disease. There's all sorts of different testing they do. You actually have to do direct blood product testing now. In the old days, remember, you used to have to send it away in 20 minutes. You know, in 20 minutes now. Things have come a long way since the 80s when I first started seeing this. So let's talk about allergies, IgE. So type 1, anaphylaxis, not a good thing. And what happens is IgE creates tons of mast cells, and the mast cells actually release these chemotoxic substances. And there's all sorts of different things that can cause anaphylaxis, you know, tons. IVP dye, people are often allergic, horrible cat dander, peanut allergies, I mean, just about anything. People can have allergies to just about anything. But a type 1 reaction is the most serious reaction you can have.
How come nut and peanuts are like very severe when someone has like an allergy?
It's more
Like it's
prevalent
deadly. Like, you know, like I could be
Yeah, I
allergic
do
to
know.
strawberries and get breakout and hives, but when someone's allergic to peanuts or tree nuts or whatever, it's like very serious.
Well, first of all, the first time you get exposed, it doesn't happen like that.
Oh.
The second time you get exposed.
Really? Now why?
Even with bee stings. The
Really?
first time around, people do not get anaphylaxis the first time around, they get it the second time around.
Now why is that?
Because they have that
Oh.
memory
Okay.
of the antigen, and the IgE goes through the roof. They now have antibodies within their body, and they have an overreaction
Okay.
of the immune system that causes them to go into anaphylaxis.
And then
Oh.
inflammation kicks in.
Good
Okay.
old inflammation. No.
But it seems like peanut allergies are much more prevalent.
Why do you think that is?
Is it
It's been
'cause-
ticking up and up and up over the years too.
Do you think because kids are getting exposed to it less? Like parents are afraid to give them?
And they say that if you're exposed to it earlier, chances are you get high chance of getting.
Because aren't you not
People
supposed
lived
to?
on
they've
peanut
been-
butter when I
they
was
But aren't
a
you
child.
not-
That's what I'm
They
saying,
just
like,
had
I
studies
wouldn't
out of
have
this.
eaten as a child if
I would've
if
starved
I
without
was in
peanut butter.
school
Right.
with the
But
issues.
isn't now that aren't they? Don't they recommend
want
like
you to
no
have-
peanut butter until 3 or
No,
something?
they're
Yeah.
changing, they're changing that now though.
They
They
just
want
had a s-
doctors, they want the kids to be exposed to it a lot sooner,
Yeah.
before 2 years of age.
Yep.
Because they found that will decrease the allergies now.
Correct.
And they want they want mothers to eat peanuts and eat everything during their pregnancies.
So that the
I
baby
eat peanut
has
butter
that
now.
immune response system that
Yeah.
crosses over the barrier.
So this is
So you
a,
think some pregnant women are not even eating peanut butter?
Right.
And so that's.
Probably.
Because
But
it's
why
making
would-
them
why
go,
would they
ew.
eat it?
Probably.
so
I
this
don't
is
know.
I don't know.
so this is a little insane. I don't have a child. I've never been pregnant, so I mean, excuse me, but so
That's all right.
say you're pregnant, you have a baby in your belly,
Yep.
okay? And you eat peanut butter.
Yep.
Now, if the baby was allergic, say the baby's out born, like is 2 years old,
Mhm.
we find out it's allergic to peanut butter. If you eat peanut butter when the baby's in your stomach, wouldn't it still
No.
be allergic to it?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't
No,
develop
no.
its own immune response till it comes out of the womb.
Plus, it's
Oh.
not getting peanuts. It's just getting nutrients that your body's already
Correct.
processed past through the placenta
Okay.
membrane.
So think
All
about
right.
it, yes, that's absolutely correct.
It's
Okay.
6 months before it builds up immunity.
Yes, 6
Yeah.
months. That's why if you can breastfeed, you
Carries
give them
over
a,
for
it
6
just gives you a little more wiggle room.
On the subject of the peanut allergy with early exposure, they just found in Israel actually they have there's a snack that everyone eats. It's ridiculous. Everyone eats it all the time. Little kids, big kids. It's like we have this puffed corn stuff like for chips and everything here,
Yeah.
like Cheez-Its and stuff. Over there, it's puffed peanut.
Really?
Puffed peanut like dust basically. They make then they puff it there, and that's what everyone eats because peanuts grow really easy there. Little 6 months old are eating this, and they found that almost no one now in that
Because they
country
get early exposure.
has peanut allergy because of the early exposure. Everyone's eating this all the time. It's in every store.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, and so that I think had something to do with, you just found out about, they
The
just
earlier the
changed,
better.
they just changed like protocols with it
Well-
and stuff, and that's brand new like 2 years ago.
But think about it. If you get chickenpox at 5,
Mhm.
the 2-year-old might get a fever, but they still build the antibodies.
Right.
Mhm.
The younger you are, the less severe a reaction's gonna be to something.
Mm.
So it would make sense that if you started early, that you'd be better off. Because you're not gonna have, your body's gonna have a chance, you're not gonna have that kind of severe reaction.
Because the buildup of the immune system still is.
Yeah, because it's still young, and so you don't get that severity.
Would the people not breastfeeding as much have anything to do with the kids' immunities, like the fact that they have more allergies?
Nope,
Would
I
that
don't know
be-
the answer to
Oh,
that.
She says no.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
there isn't. I mean, there is such a craze, there was such a craze and a hype of people, all they should do is breastfeed, breastfeed,
Yeah,
breastfeed.
oh, yeah.
And those, the parents that couldn't, that weren't able to, so they did these studies. They did studies because some of these parents felt so guilty. There
Oh,
were
terrible.
parents that
Oh,
were
it
going
is.
into
It's
depression
Oh, it's a lot
because they
about
could
having
not,
natural
they
deliveries
couldn't
too.
do their breastfeeding of the, and some couldn't pump.
Some
They
people
just-
can't breastfeed.
I mean, those women, they were women, and so they did tests, they did studies, and they also did because there were some women that found out they had cancer when they were pregnant, couldn't
Yeah.
go through any treatment
Yeah.
until after they had the baby,
Yeah.
and then after they had the baby, they went through all their treatments, so they couldn't breastfeed.
Right.
So they went through those tests and studies as well, and they're really, as much as it does increase the immunity, yes, that is a known fact. A mother that doesn't breastfeed compared to a mother that does breastfeed, there were more babies that had reactions and allergies of parents that did moms that did breastfeed
Interesting.
than there were that weren't.
Because they weren't
However-
adjusting primarily.
Right, but the other aspect of it is too, is what is the mother doing for her diet? There are some women that are very crazed and just want organic stuff going into them,
Yeah.
and organic stuff going into the kids, which are completely fine. And then they did studies of women that ate anything and everything under the sun. So it's really of how the body processes everything, and,
And everybody's different.
right, and then it also depends on your environment, of where you live. People who live in high pollen areas, those kids are less chance to have allergies to
That's right.
outside exposure than kids that from around here. We have the 4 seasons, I mean, we have a lot of trees and all this other stuff, but there's higher allergies here than there are in like Washington State because and there's more trees there. Like
But
that's
it's
a higher.
drier. We have a lot more humidity
Right.
here than it is out
So
there.
there's just, really, there is no rhyme or reason. There
Yeah.
is no right and there is no wrong.
I wasn't judging.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the thing, like, that's
No,
what you know,
no,
what I mean, like, that is,
absolutely. I
that
feel
is
the
the
same
thing,
way.
'cause, I mean,
Yeah, it's
and
good
then
to know
if you-
though.
But if you look at it, back in the 70s and back in the 70s and even the 60s, not many women were breastfeeding that were smoking and drinking most of the time throughout their pregnancies. And then when
60s
the
and
kids
70s,
were born,
yeah.
they were doing formula.
Yeah.
I mean, so most of us, I'm
60s and
sure, I
70s.
mean, I was a formula baby, my mother.
Yeah, I was
Because
formula baby.
I was born, I mean, my kids were born in the 80s. And they were really trying to move us back to breastfeeding at that time, which I did because it was just easier.
Mhm.
So, but I only did it for 6 months because my kids' teeth came in at 6 months.
Yeah.
That was,
No.
Yeah,
that was the end of that. It's like, oh, well, you're gonna go to the bottle.
that's a game changer.
Yeah, so, all right, type 2, tissue specific. So type 1 is about anaphylaxis, type 2 is tissue specific. In other words, this IgG is about specific illnesses. Autoimmune hemolytic anemia, my sister has that. Autoimmune, we have no idea, but her own body causes her anemia. Her body actually destroys her red blood cells. Myasthenia gravis is another one that's where cells are actually destroyed by the body. And Graves' disease, thyroid. Type 3 is when
Would
you-
type 2 also be celiac disease too, or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Type 3 is to do with different immune complexes. Lupus is a big one I always think about with type 3. serum sickness is another one, when people get serum sickness. This post-streptococcal glomerular nephritis. So if you get really bad strep, you can end up with really bad renal problems. And then type 4 has to do with cell-mediated problems. So type 4 is delayed. Type 1 diabetes is a perfect example of that, where you actually have destruction of the islet cells within the pancreas. When you have poison ivy, you actually have a delay, a cell-mediated delay, where you get destruction at the site or hypersensitivity. So those are the two things I think about there. And this just shows you first exposure, what happens. And then second exposure, everything happens much more quickly. Look at that slide later, when you go back. So autoimmune just means that the body is attacking itself. It's not recognizing that it is actually destroying its own cells. That's what an autoimmune disease is, and there are a ton of them. Lupus is a big one. Rheumatoid arthritis is a big one. PMR, very common as we get older, polymyalgia rheumatica. Fibromyalgia, which for years people said they weren't sure if it was real, it's real. And autoimmune hemolytic anemia. These are all disease processes where the body actually turns on itself and starts attacking itself. One of the biggest things that are used in all these, steroids. Because what do steroids do? Turn off the inflammatory response. And when we're looking at blood work to see if something's inflammatory, you're looking at an ANA and a Segrate and CRP. Those are the three general tests that show that there's inflammation. It's very general. It's not specific. If you're looking at rheumatoid arthritis, they actually look at an RA factor, a specific RA factor. But with anything if you're looking to see if you've got some kind of inflammatory process going on, these things will be all there. Boy, latex allergy has really become huge. When I first was in nursing, actually ever since I was in healthcare, all of our gloves were latex. Everything was latex. Everything. Tourniquets were latex, half the stuff in the OR was latex, everything was latex. And of course, what happened is we started with universal precautions. And guess what happened with universal precautions? You were using, when I first started drawing blood and starting lines a million years ago, we didn't use gloves. You didn't use gloves. You started lines, you washed your hands, and you went on with things. Then we started wearing gloves all the time. And what happened is we were constantly being exposed to latex. And you know, you get microscopic breaks in your skin, and what happened was everybody started becoming latex allergic. Now some people have a much greater response than others. You know, I have one girlfriend who can't wear regular bras. The elastic that's in the bras themselves will cause her to develop a rash. I have another girlfriend who actually can't practice nursing anymore because she can't, there's too much latex. She's has horrible latex allergies. And of course, what we did is we all switched to vinyl. Everything got switched to vinyl, including all the stuff in the OR. In the old days, we had the latex cart, and you would use that. And we still have latex carts for people that have severe allergies. And we mark people that are latex allergic, because there is still a little bit of latex around, and you have to be really careful.
I react terribly to vinyl.
Do you?
I have
To vinyl?
I have a horrible reaction to vinyl. My hands turn into hamburger meat. Well, they won't pay for nitrile at work because
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
So I just use latex, and I have, unless I'm constantly in gloves all day,
Yeah.
I'll get the tiniest microcosm of my vinyl reaction, but
Nothing in comparison.
nothing compares to
It's
those
vinyl
vinyl
that
gloves.
bothers you.
It's
Interesting. Well, you better not develop any sensitivity to latex.
When you
Well,
say
if you
that
do, they're gonna have to
everything
get you nitrile glasses. You're gonna have to get you nitrile if you develop latex allergy.
Yeah,
You'll have to.
it's interesting that you say that, like, my ears perked up when you said everything in the OR is now,
The majority of it.
that scares me, because if I need a procedure,
You need to tell, well,
That should be on your allergy list.
that should definitely be on your allergy list, if you're allergic to vinyl. And you get a rash.
I get raised, it's like an eczemic
Is
reaction.
it bullous?
Huh?
Is it bullous? Is it fluid filled?
It weeps, it doesn't make a blister,
It's like eczema.
but I get
Eczema,
yeah,
I
I
mean.
get raised and it weeps and weeps, and it doesn't go away for a very long time after that.
Not
So I got
good.
these gross hands and they get the crusties. And
Oh, yeah, I bet it's awful.
I work
Well, it
with a
must take
nurse who
forever to
can't,
heal.
who can't work anymore because, like,
gets
she
fissures.
was like, yeah, she would get
Get fissures in her
fissures
hands.
and it was,
God. Bleeding
and like if
fissures.
she went on vacation, like she'd come back and you'd be like, oh my God, your hands look awesome, but like when you
For a
look
day.
at
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
they
it's
were
'cause I'm not
so
working.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would get fissures and
Yeah.
they said it was a nickel allergy. I guess we have a lot of nickel in the hospital and that's what was
Oh.
allergic.
My,
But this took years. I mean, this
Oh,
poor
yeah.
girl has been suffering for years.
God bless her.
I know.
How long did it take them to realize
A
what was
long
the
time.
issue?
It was like years
Oh my God.
before they figured out what it was. They thought it was like the hand soap or something, you know, and the washing and
Oh.
the gloves and the they thought that that's what it was at first, but then
They
they
figured out
ended
it
up
wasn't.
testing her and it was nickel.
So what's really interesting, this is the interesting thing, it's not just about latex, it's just the rubber tree has 240 potentially allergenic protein fragments, 240 different proteins
Wow.
that can cause high allergic response. So that's why latex gloves become such an issue, because there are so many different proteins that people can react to. And that constant exposure is the issue,
it's not just one thing in that
Correct.
glove, it could be
Wow.
a ton of different.
any of 240 reactions to that one glove.
So a true latex allergy is usually a type 1 anaphylaxis. And people literally, their airways will close up. A type 4 reaction is a chemical sensitivity, so that it's actually the chemicals that they process the latex to that people actually are allergic to. And that's when you get the contact dermatitis like you get from the vinyl. So I wonder if it's the vinyl that actually you're allergic to, or if it's the chemicals they use to make the vinyl gloves. But there's no way for you to know.
Right, they're not, and they're even non-powdered, it happens with
Yeah.
powdered or non-powdered.
Yeah, it has something to do with the actual material itself.
Yeah.
I know, I don't like
Oh.
powdered gloves.
And of course, interesting, almost 15% of people have latex allergies. I thought it was really interesting that patients with spinal bifida have an enormous sensitivity, and I don't know why. People that have had more than 3 abdominal surgeries, especially before, think about the dams that they used to use that were latex, all those different things that they used to use that were latex. You've got all that mucosa that's exposed to latex, the chances of them developing a latex allergy becomes greater. And cross allergies, bananas, avocados, fruits, or chestnuts, if you have allergies to those, the chance that you develop or do have a latex allergy is greater.
Wow.
Just a little tidbit. So they actually do this RAS testing, and that shows whether you have those IgE antibodies, so you're looking for those specific antibodies. And they can do either patch testing or skin prick testing. And again, powder-free, and of course all the gloves have gone powder-free anyway. Low protein latex, 240 different proteins in a rubber tree. So they actually have some latex that has minimal amounts of the proteins that are within the rubber tree in them, and some people can tolerate those.
I have a question.
Make it a good one.
If someone has never had the chicken pox, can they get shingles or no?
No,
Okay. So all these kids that are getting the vaccine, they're free, like, you know.
no, they've had the vaccine.
Okay, so.
So
Doesn't matter whether you get it on your own or you get it through the vaccine, but once you have that chicken pox, you can end up with.
But it's true that we can't catch shingles like you can catch chickenpox, right? Like you have to actually touch,
I don't know, but
Contact,
it's contact.
It's contact.
Whereas with chickenpox,
correct. Yeah, absolutely. The contagion, the way it is transferred is different. Absolutely different. With shingles, it's all about contact precaution.
correct. Okay.
And, you know, if somebody has shingles and it's covered,
It-
you don't have to
it's
worry
covered.
about it.
Now, how
Everybody
come-
freaks out, but if it's covered,
Right.
you're okay.
how come my work, someone had shingles and they're like, no pregnant people can go in the room?
Because you don't know whether they've had chicken pox or not, and you don't want them to get shingles while they're pregnant,
Oh, okay.
because it can affect the fetus.
And the shingles, that's the CMV, right? Isn't that the CMV?
Cytomegalovirus too,
Oh.
yeah, so that they can really get in trouble if they end up with shingles. One more lecture.
Crazy.
It's fun when you're having fun.
Yeah.